Hi, welcome to SPR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. This is Into the Weekend with BetDSI for NFL Week 12. Brent, the headlines manager from DSI Sportsbook, of course, is joining us on the phone as always. Brent, the Sharps have been killing it in the second part of the NFL season. I don't track how they do each week, though. How'd they do last week? Well again?
5 out of 6 sounds pretty well to me.
You know, maybe it's time to tail the Sharps, whatever they're doing in Week 12. The first game I want to ask you about is the Pats-Denver. You know, huge game. Pats still undefeated despite all their injuries. I don't know if I could guess which way the public would go, but I guess if I had to guess, it would be the Pats as a road favorite, still undefeated. That's the way the public would be leaning.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who the Pats are playing, where they're playing, or what the line is. The public are betting the Pats.
Right, okay.
My counts in terms of the actual number of wagers I've taken on this game is about 3-1 in favor of New England. Now, again, I mean, you don't have Manning playing for Denver, so that's kind of lost a bit of its luster. So it's easy for guys to, justify betting New England for sure. Ton of volume on this game. I got what I'm going to call a couple of big bets on Denver at +3 -15. We're sitting Denver's +3 -120 right now just because of the couple of bigger bets. So I actually have a little bit more money on Denver, but like I said, the wager count's like 3, almost 4-1 in favor of New England, which is no surprise. Now, the guys who took Denver in the +3 -15 weren't guys that we're going to call sharp. I've also got what I'm going to call respectable money the other way on New England -3 even money now. So I expect that to even up and the line to stay roughly where it is. Total wise, I'm pretty much dead even. I mean, we're sitting at 43.5, which might seem like a low total for these two teams, but you never know in terms of the injuries, as you mentioned. I mean, injuries to both teams. Plus, you're talking weather too could be a factor by this time because it's the late game on Sunday. So we'll see how that goes down. But right now, I mean, I do have more money on the under, and the wager count's about even in terms of the total itself. Like I said on the side, public's all over New England. I've got some very respectable bet also on New England -3 even money, and respectable deep pocket money on Denver +3 -15.
Okay, and then the second game I want to ask about Pitt at Seattle. Seattle at home is usually a side that takes public action. This line has seen some movement, though. It opened at around 5 or 5.5 market wide. Now I'm seeing it's down to 3.5. So I'm guessing that implies sharp money on Pitt?
Yeah, Seattle did open as a 5.5 point favorite. Sharp, what do we call one of the guys who hits the opening number right away took Pittsburgh plus the 5.5. Another guy came in later on that plus the 4.5. So we're all the way down to 3.5. I've got my wager count actually favors Pittsburgh about 2-1 in terms of the actual number of wagers I've taken on Pittsburgh, and my money's about the same, almost 3-1 in favor of Pittsburgh as well because of the big bets that I've taken. So I've got two guys who we're going to call sharp who are on Pittsburgh. It was plus the 5.5 and plus 4.5. My total's sitting at 46. I've got, the wager count slightly favors the over, and I've got a little bit of public money on the over there, but nothing sharp really either way, just some bigger bets that move the number from like 44.5, 45 up to 46 where it is right now. But the sharpest definitely plays. We're on this one, we're the plus 5.5 and plus 4.5 on Pittsburgh.
So the public is leaning towards Pittsburgh then as of right now?
Yeah, exactly. The public's the same way, which I find surprising.
Yeah, and then the next game I have to ask you about, Minnesota and Atlanta, right? Atlanta, 6 straight ATS losses. Minnesota, of course, been killing it overall ATS this year. I spoke to a sharp opinion this week who says he really likes Atlanta here. Actually, I spoke to two guys who said they like Atlanta. That's the way I'd be leaning as well. Feels like a contrarian play, at least as far as the ATS results in recent weeks have gone. Have you taken sharp action either way on this one?
Yeah, it seems like we talk about Minnesota every week, and this is a case where, again, I mean, I can only call them as I see them and what I've got, and I've got sharp money on Minnesota. Now that came in at +2. I've got a guy who hits the opening number, who we respect, who laid the -1 with Atlanta. But again, he's usually playing moves and stuff like that and expecting stuff to jump. Now the guy who bet Minnesota +2, he's just an all-round sharp guy who wins. My wager count in terms of what you expect from, typically indicates public action is about 2-1 in favor of Minnesota. So I do have sharp and public money on Minnesota +2. My total's at 45.5. Again, typical scene. I got more. The wager count is slightly favoring the over, but I don't have anything sharp on the total as of yet.
Brent, what else can you tell us about notable action from NFL Week 12?
I can tell you that the sharps did jump in on New Orleans +3 even money. Now I've got two different guys who are on this game, so very, very, very strong plays. One guy they both took the +3 even money, and one of the guys also grabbed the money line +145 on New Orleans. So I got a lot of money on New Orleans. My wager dollar amount is about 2-1 in favor of New Orleans. My wager count in terms of the actual number of bets favors Houston almost 2-1. Houston's not a team you expect the public really to want to get behind, and New Orleans is a team where the public generally backs. While this seems to be a case where I guess the public you get burned enough, you just kind of sour on a team. So I've got more public money on New Orleans in this case. More public money on Houston, but the sharp money is definitely on New Orleans. So +3 even money, and even the money line +145 were sharp plays there. Giants in Washington. Giants are now a 2.5-point favorite on the road at Washington. We've got a total of 47. And I have sharp action on this team of Washington, +3 -115. As you would expect, my count is way one side on the Giants, almost like 5-1. People just always want to bet the Giants for some reason, and they have in this case as well. Also betting the over. The count there is about 3-1 on the over. Nothing sharp on that total. But I've got a lot of public money on the Giants, and I got sharp money on Washington, +3 -115. Arizona, San Francisco, that's a game. On the total, I have sharp money on the under 45.5. We're sitting at 44.5 right now. Not a whole lot of money on the over at all, so mostly under money so far. We're down to 44.5. The sharp money came in at 45.5. I do want to touch on this side too. We got a just really, really balanced chart here. We're sitting Arizona -10, -115 right now, but I do have sharp action that came -10, -05 on Arizona.
Wow.
I also have sharp money on San Francisco plus the 10, -05. So I got sharps on both sides of that game, so there's nothing to tip off there, but just really good action. So obviously the number seems to be working there. The 10's balancing action both ways. Baltimore, Cleveland, the Monday night game, the under is getting sharp money. The under 42 and 41.5. We're sitting at 41 right now. Almost nothing on the over there. So that's Baltimore and Cleveland. I also want to touch on Miami and the Jets, just because there's just a ton of wagering volume there as well. My chart again is perfectly balanced right now. I've got the Jets as a -4-point favorite, the Dogs -115. I had a couple of sharps on Miami +4. And I had a sharp on the Jets -3, -115. Another guy -3.5, -105. So that's kind of an indication as of right now that this line you're probably not going to see it move a whole lot, because I got sharp action +4, two different guys on the -3, -15, and the -3.5, -05. So that's a good indication there in terms of the line should probably stay where it is. So sharp action for the week. We've got New Orleans +3 even money. Minnesota was +2. Washington +3 -115. The Arizona San Francisco game under 45.5. And Pittsburgh +4.5 and +5.5. And Baltimore Cleveland under 41.5. So I got quite a few sharp plays there. Teasers, your typical suspects are the Giants, who always get public money, Arizona, and what would teaser time be without the New England Patriots?
Interesting information as always, Brent. Sharp action both ways on that Arizona-San Francisco game. You know my general theory, Brent. When there's sharp action two ways, I'm tending to think that the sharp action on the favorite is probably more likely to be correct. But we will see. Brent, thanks so much as always. Talk to you again next week for NFL Week 13.